Now, I'm sure many of us here know a U.S. war veteran, whether it be a grandfather, a cousin, or even a friend's brother. Now, what you may not know about the 21.8 million American war veterans is that many of them return home from serving our country overseas both mentally and physically changed. Gwen Ivel, an American journalist and news TV host, said, "Many veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars have served multiple deployments, survived injuries that would have killed them in earlier combats, and now cope with unprecedented mental and physical challenges." So therein we face the problem. American veterans, men and women who have risked their lives to serve our country overseas, return home where they should feel cared for and safe, but instead are psychologically and physically changed due to the trauma they faced at war. Many struggle to cope with the horror seen overseas, defending freedom and basic human rights, and come back to the United States, finding it difficult to connect with family. These alarming statistics provided by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs really go to show how much our veterans need our support. 30% of all U.S. veterans develop mental problems within 3 to 4 months of being home. That's 6,540,000 men and women who have served our country, and yet when they return home, they may seem fine with their friends and family, happy even. But then as time goes on, and all the trauma they face sets in, they find it difficult to adjust to life back at home, where they don't need to constantly be on edge. Also, 20% of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans turn to heavy drinking and drugs upon return. 500,000 American people. They do this in an effort to cope and even try to forget the horrors they've seen. So, as much as 20% of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans suffered a traumatic brain injury, and that can have side effects of suicidal thoughts. Someone can become easily angered, or even can change a personality completely. This affects as much as 500,000 American veterans. Also, the United States Department of Veterans Affairs estimates that post-traumatic stress disorder and or depression, both very troublesome disorders, affects almost 31% of Vietnam veterans, 10% of Gulf War veterans, 20% of veterans of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Those percentages, they might not seem like much, but when you really take into account the amount of veterans there were in those wars, that comes to a total of approximately 3,902,000 veterans affected by post-traumatic stress disorder and depression due to their service to our country overseas. And not only psychological wounds, but physical wounds are more common than not among U.S. war veterans. I mean, anything from amputees to traumatic brain injuries and anything in between. And mental wounds can turn physical when you take into account the suicide rate among veterans. In 2010, as many as, or even more than 22 American war veterans committed suicide every single day. Now, the VA Palo Alto healthcare system recognizes this problem and is striving to correct it. Their mission statement reads, "Honor America's veterans by providing exceptional healthcare that improves both their health and well-being." VA Palo Alto operates over 800 beds, including 3 nursing homes and 100-bed homeless home to serve the veterans who have become unemployed and can't even find a home once they return from overseas. And they serve more than 67,000 enrolled veterans just in our small Bay Area. Now, how can you help? To get involved, you can either volunteer your time or donate supplies. For volunteers, there are so many options to get involved. These include the Caring Matters volunteers, and they provide important functions through the medical center and help the patient's stay be more comfortable and enjoyable for them. There's also volunteer transportation, which is very important in assisting disabled veterans who aren't staying at the hospital, but they can't find transportation to their treatment centers. So they have to be either be unattended or with the help of the Volunteer Transportation Network, these volunteers can transport the veterans from their homes and get them to the care they need. There's also corporate volunteering if you want to get your work involved. But for students, there's a student volunteering option where anyone under the age of 19 is eligible to work, where they can do any number of tasks in an effort to assist the veterans' welfare and health. And in addition to the wonders of just helping them through their struggles, these volunteers could be offered the James H. Park Memorial Youth Scholarship Award, which provides scholarships for volunteers who are really committed and do a wonderful job just trying to help and do well by the veterans. All you need to do to become a volunteer is submit a volunteer application packet, which is available on their website, vapaloalto.gov, and you can submit it through there. Now, if you can't find the time to volunteer, or you simply feel like donations is a better option for you, cash donations are used for the comfort and welfare of the veteran patients, including things such as hygiene products, temporary housing for the family members of veterans being treated, and recreational activities to try and get them active and moving again, the ones who are excelling in their programs. Non-cash contributions are also accepted and make a huge difference. You can donate things such as magazines, coffee and cookies, or new and gently used clothing. These all make a huge impact. And if you volunteer with VA Palo Alto, you can help so many men and women who have fought for your freedom and for the basic human rights of others. As men and women have suffered enough, now it's our turn to give back.